I'm very excited today to have this conversation with you. And I think it's time that I come out and share this in a big way. The reason why I want to share it before I even tell you what it is because I see how it's impacting the lives and careers of so many talented leaders. As you know, I specialize in developing leaders and female leaders. What I've learned since 2017, when I began coaching women specifically, is that there were a set of challenges that many of us women faced regularly. And this is not anything that we don't know about. We know all about unconscious biases. We know so much about the expectations that society has on our behaviors, where in some cases being assertive is seen as a very positive trait in our male counterparts. Being assertive as a woman can be viewed very negatively, and I won't use the word that most of us get called. If we are confident, if we know what we want, if we are assertive in our leadership, albeit kind, etc. We also know that there are many times when our leadership style may differ from the status quo in an organization, which usually happens to be the dominating style. And as we know about the research, we have seen that as we make our way up the leadership pipeline, we have a leaky pipeline, according to McKinsey and Company. And we start out equally around the entry level of management. And by the time we get to senior leadership roles, that pipeline of female leaders has dwindled significantly. And it's not because of lack of ambition. It's not because we don't work hard enough. It's simply because there are many different factors that the research has shown prevents us from staying in the pipeline and ascending through the ranks. So I'm on a mission to support organizations and companies like yours to identify what are the factors that are poking holes in your leadership pipeline so that women aren't making it to the top. Women are not surviving that process. And what are the different ingredients in your culture, making it extremely challenging for women to ascend, to stay there, and to do it in their style, so they're not conforming to wearing the armor that most of us have had to wear for so many decades to be able to be successful in business. There is a new paradigm, there's a change happening. And the change is that as we get older, especially I'll speak for myself, as a 55-year-old CEO running my own firm, I realized that the experiences that I had when I was in the corporate world for over 26 years was that I basically adjusted to becoming, sounding, looking, and being like my counterparts in business, because that was the formula for success. And while I appreciated so much how much I grew and learned and advanced through the ranks, I had so many great supporters in my corner, mentors that guided me consistently. As I got older, I realized that I wasn't being authentically who I was. And it wasn't until my 40s, after being in business for a couple of decades, that I became more self-aware of who I really was, and my style had been about emulating my peers who were mostly male, since I was in the financial services industry and also in the technology field. So I am not shaming or blaming anyone. I'm simply sharing what I've noticed. Now that I have a unique perspective as someone on the outside looking in, I also noticed when I realized I was carrying this heavy armor that I was holding back on showing some of my best qualities. the qualities that, if you read the literature today, indicate that women are very effective leaders because of their collaboration, their empathy, their open-mindedness about how to do business. And when we embrace this in the workplace and we realize that even though someone else is a leader with a different style from us, does not mean they're not good leaders. What happened to me personally is that once I, in the corporate world, came to this realization, everything shifted. I began to enjoy my work more. I began to be more authentic with people. I began to show more of my personality, which is kind and caring, which is lighthearted, and we still got business done. We weren't ineffective. I wasn't ineffective because I was embracing more of who I was. However, when you're younger in your upbringing in the corporate world and you're trying to be successful, you're looking out for what is happening, how are people behaving, and we typically adhere to and adopt a style that is the norm. And so I want to really revisit this because if we are building organizations that are going to bring out the genius in our leaders and our people and our talent, that's going to be hard to do when we are expecting half of the population at work to conform to a style that is not our authentic style. And at the end of the day, my number one goal, as I know is yours as well, is for our businesses to thrive. We will not thrive as businesses when we have some of the population in our business contorting themselves and pressing themselves into shapes that hold back their resources. Imagine a world where we can all come to work and perform at our best, be professional, deliver, help our teams grow and develop. And we're doing it in our unique styles, not feeling like someone has to adopt somebody else's style either way, but everyone having the awareness that our number one goal is to row in the same direction and deliver for our clients, our investors, and our people, our talent. Imagine a world like this. So the reason why I'm having this conversation with all of you today is to say that let's acknowledge where we are. Our workplaces, let's give them a grade. If you had to grade your workplace right now on a grade from, let's say, 1 to 10, 1 is poor as it relates to allowing all of our people, including our leaders, to bring their strengths forward without an expectation that they should be behaving, acting, or leading in X, Y, or Z way. Yes, we're all going to adhere to a code of conduct. We don't all have to have the same styles to get it done. So 1 is we're poor at that, and 10 is, Ginny, we thrive at that. We allow all of our leaders and all of our talent to be who they are, to bring their genius out, and we welcome our differences. We welcome that we have different leaders with different styles. And yes, we don't put up with toxic behaviors. We don't put up with favoritism. We don't put up with putting some people in a box. And we don't put up with looking at behaviors in one group as positive and the same behavior in another group as too demanding, or the person is just too much for us. Once you give yourself this grade of 1 to 10, let's have a conversation. And I'm here to tell you that the number one goal of me having this conversation with you is to bring up that we need to develop our leaders. Our leaders are in charge of our talent. And if we have leaders who have been promoted because they have been good individual contributors, We all know that not everyone who gets promoted to a people leadership role is a good people leader. We have seen this time and time again. We just haven't been taught in many cases the skills of leadership, the skill of mentoring, of coaching, of helping our teams learn how to negotiate, learn how to influence, learn how to communicate powerfully across the board, and to collaborate with other leaders to row in the same direction and get things completed in a healthy way. And in a healthy way, to me, means collaborating, engaging with each other, ensuring that we are being psychologically safe, being open to receiving feedback, knowing how to give and provide that feedback in a way that's constructive, not destructive. We are not here to destroy people's character. We're not here to beat people into submission so they do what we say. That is not the kind of leader that we're looking to develop. In my number one best-selling book, Healing Leadership, I talk about the characteristics of a healing leader. A leader who is showing up with an open mind, who is willing to be vulnerable, and is willing to keep learning. That was just a very short synopsis of the many topics that we discuss in healing leadership. And I have a surprise because in the near future, I will be launching my healing leadership development program, which is going to be super exciting because organizations who know they have leaders who need this training, you will have the chance and opportunity to send them to the training that would be transformational, not simply a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day training that they go for and then they come back and what went in one ear goes out the other and nothing really changes other than we check the box to say that we sent our leaders to that training. The first part is develop your leaders. If we don't invest in developing your leaders, you may be already experiencing that people are leaving. And the talent that took you so long to build up and to train is walking out the door. Talent that you know it's super expensive to acquire again. And so if you see that you're experiencing your teams are leaving, it's time to do something about it. And it all begins at the top. We must look up to the leadership and we must question what is happening at the top. And perhaps the leaders have the best intentions, but who are we kidding? Our leaders are pressed to deliver the KPIs to the investors. So they are really focused on how are we going to make our revenue goals so that the board is not upset with us, so that we are not questioned as leaders. And in the meantime, the day-to-day operations and the day-to-day leadership may suffer and go by the wayside because that's not where the senior leadership is focused at the time. Not because they're ill-intended at all. I'm actually speaking with you. It's because business is happening, and I get it. And we have to stop and say, where are we headed as an organization? How is the health of our company? And if we're having trouble with our talent, the people who are making all of this happen, we need to take a pause and reflect on what can we possibly do to improve our leaders so that they can lead our people powerfully into the beautiful future that we want to create for our organization, our investors, our clients, and our own employees. So that's the first part. Develop your leaders. And if you're not developing them, ask yourself, what am I going to do about this? I can't continue down this path. Let's come up with a plan as to what to do. The other aspect of developing your leaders is that one size does not fit all. And I can tell you from the years that I was in corporate, almost 3 decades, that the leadership training that I received was non-existent. And whatever courses I took that had to do with my work specifically was always focused on the skills that I was learning. There was never any training that had anything to do with my mindset and how I view the world and the limitations that I was creating for myself and my team. That never came into the conversation. One size does not fit all, in that if you see that your leaders need training to become better leaders, if you send them to a skill-based leadership training where they're going to learn about negotiation or about influence or about executive presence, and you're not tackling their mindset, what's happening between their ears that no one can see but themselves, we are missing the mark. Every leadership training after I become a coach, in my opinion, has to include how does that leader relate to that topic that you're teaching them in terms of the skill, whether it's negotiation, influence, executive presence, their personal brand, whatever the case may be. What is their mindset around that? And let's expose it, because it is the mindset they bring to your everyday that is either making your organization innovative or it's holding everyone back or that leader back from being innovative. The environments we create and the mindset of the people that are working with us and the results that you see are all interrelated. If you're not seeing innovation, there's no way that the culture and everybody's mindset is aligned with innovation. There is a disconnect, a misalignment between those, and we must look to see what's causing that misalignment. Sometimes as senior leaders, we say we want people to do X, but yet the environment and the culture are counterproductive to delivering what you wish the most. If you have been asking your leaders to deliver a certain way of behaving, of showing up, and they're not doing it, we need to explore that. That all has to do with their mindset. So the good news is that there is help. As I mentioned, I'm in the process of developing the Healing Leadership Development Program, and I'm going to tackle very carefully these challenges that I'm mentioning so that your leaders are not only impactful, they're able to deliver for you. They're also healing leaders that support their organization to operate in a psychologically safe environment where people give feedback, where people feel heard, where you can innovate and know that you're not going to be fired because your innovation didn't work, but that your ideas are welcomed because we welcome all of you who are talented to work for our firm and deliver for our clients and our investors. And we want you to do it in your style, albeit different from somebody else's style. We want to ensure that our people are seen and heard, because one of the many challenges, going back to the beginning, that I see our leaders go through is that in addition to having these common challenges, a lot of them have to do with their confidence. And their confidence gets knocked down when they are expected to be different than how they are. When who they are and when they show you who they are is not accepted by others, not because it's bad, but because it's different. And so if I have a group of senior leaders, and these senior leaders are women, and we're trying to create a healthy pipeline of senior leaders who will enhance and supplement and augment how we solve problems at the top, and we know we have some big fish to fry at the top, then if we're having challenges with that, we must take a different approach. And the approach may be that we actually tackle the challenges specifically impacting the female leaders in your organization. What are those challenges? One size does not fit all. As women, we have a unique set of challenges that we face daily. And it takes someone who knows what those challenges are to address them, and help you create a solution that will address them. Now, many of the firms that I work with already have very mature learning and development departments, and that's amazing, and that is music to my ears because that means that you know and understand how crucial it is to develop your leaders. And many of them do not have the niche where you are focusing on the unique challenges that female leaders face. And as a result, you are making one size fit all the norm. So I'm here to say that if you are trying to get results and you want to maximize your return on investment, every single dollar that you invest in your leaders to become better and more impactful leaders for your company, I recommend taking a different approach to developing your female leaders. And rather than have you create a whole new arm of your L&D department to focus on women, let's partner up and let me share with you what I have already created that is a turnkey solution to develop your female leaders. It's called the Fearless Leadership Mastermind. I can make it 100% personalized to your company while labeling it and creating an experience that you will never regret, because when you see the results that you receive, like the other women who've graduated since 2020 from the mastermind, you will see that this was the right decision for your company. Whether you have already a leadership development program and you just don't have one for women, let's talk. And if you happen to be an organization who hasn't yet created a leadership development program, let's talk. I believe we can have a lot of synergies and support you in developing your women so that you don't have to worry about the leaky pipeline anymore, and you can benefit by having a senior leadership group that represents your marketplace, that represents your employees, and that is leveraging the genius of everyone who's at that level of your company, not simply a few. Live with purpose, live with joy. And if you want to connect with me, you can always find me at callwithginny.com. I'll see you soon.